Okay, so I'm working on this middle tail light, and this is the product I used, this Evercoat Feather Fill. This is supposed to be a really high building primer. I'm kind of getting mixed results with this. I put it on here, and I have a little bit of Rust-Oleum spray can primer on top of it. I had a few little spots where I had just some real light scratches, and I thought I'd try to fill it in with that. But anyway, back to the Feather Fill product. I have to say I'm not impressed with this, quote, high build property that it has. I mean, they tout this stuff like it's spray-on Bondo, and I don't know, I thought it would be much easier to try to close some of these gaps, and it doesn't build like I thought it would. And the other thing that I didn't realize, even though I was wearing a regular respirator, this stuff smells really potent. I mean, this stuff is incredibly nasty. I don't know what chemical is in here, but it smells extremely toxic, and I was painting with the garage door open close to the garage door. So if you're going to use any of this polyester high build primer, ventilation is an absolute must, and you really need a proper respirator because this stuff was incredibly powerful. I let this dry for a couple nights, and my shop still smells like this feather fill. And I used maybe 3-4 ounces. I don't know, wasn't very much, but I can't stress it enough how bad that stuff really smells. So anyway, that's where I'm at with this third brake light. I did end up having to cut off almost all the tabs in the back, not the tabs, but the studs. And then back here, so on these older Lincolns, this hole here, as you can see, this was the original hole, and I've enlarged it because on these, the corners are actually further apart, further out, and then the other studs actually don't line up with any of these mounting holes. None of them. Not a single one. And I was a bit surprised. I didn't think they would change this section down here that drastically from one model year to the next. So it fits. It's the right width, and it's generally the right height. It is going to stick out. This corner is going to stick out a little bit past where this taillight is. It's going to be sticking out a little bit. I can live with that. It's something that probably only I would notice and nobody else will. But that's what I'm going for. I was really hoping to fill in these gaps, but the reality is this is made out of 3 pieces, right? Well, it's actually more than 3 pieces because you have the back part, and then you have these individual pieces, and then there's like a chrome trim strip that went under here, which I'm probably not going to put back on. But because it's wide and it's kind of flimsy and it's flexible, this is where I've reinforced it with some fiberglass. I put some fiberglass resin on the back side, and up top here I reinforced it with some fiberglass strands to try to keep it from flexing as much as it would. And these don't line up perfect from the factory, so you can tell there is a little bit of a difference in height. And I'm just going to have to live with that. I can't really fill it and make it level, or let me put it this way, I'm not willing to put the work into it. And because it's kind of a flexible piece, I think you'll have a hard time really getting that smoothed out. So that's all right. I can live with it. It's just a toy car. It's not going to be a showstopper. I'm painting these side marker lights like I did on the other side. That's what you're seeing here. And I got messed that up a little bit, so that's a redo. Anyway, I've been tinkering with the Corvette. What's interesting is I bled the brake system in the front. You've got two reservoirs here, and I bled all the brakes out of the front. I totally flushed it all out, and much to my surprise, that brake fluid looks like shit again. So I'm going to have to flush it out a couple more times. I hate to waste that much brake fluid, but I guess this is the original 1985 brake fluid in this bad boy. So anyway, that's the progress. I can't really recommend this stuff. It's just way too nasty of a chemical. I will be using the rest of this quart can on the hood of this Corvette because I've got little tiny, pitting and stuff like this where I gotta have it kind of hidden. That's pretty smooth, but it'll show through the paint. So I'm going to use the rest of that quart just basically on the very front end of this car, and hopefully that'll hide some of the minor imperfections. But again, it doesn't build. It's not like spray on Bondo at all. It's just like a thick primer, nothing more. Anyway, see ya.